Hey there, Jen here, and this is a Happy Bit. I'm talking to you today about why you need to be relentlessly committed to your goals and your happiness. So, we are all humans. That means we tend to follow the human pattern of descending into chaos. That is part of this earthly existence. But when we set goals and when we are relentlessly committed, things can start to rise from that chaos. We can start to improve, and we love that feeling of achievement. So let me ask you a question. What helps you feel the greatest sense of achievement? What helps you feel the biggest sense of accomplishment? For me, actually, I've narrowed it down. I feel the greatest sense of accomplishment from two things. First of all, completing my morning routine with the critical ones of exercise, green juice, meditation, prayer. Those are my big ones in the morning. And then, second of all, spending time with each of my family members, really listening. But I've started kind of a new thing with them, and that is helping them focus on and achieve their goals. So I have a sheet of paper, and it has, let me count how many squares across the top. Okay, 13 squares across the top. Now you might be rolling your eyes and saying, "Oh, Jen, such an overachiever." Well, not really. I've been through 6 kids and I have one graduating in a year from now. And I'm just now figuring out that I need this. So I'm passing on this tip. This is a sheet, and across the top are things that help to remind me to have a conversation with my kids about their goals, because it feels so good to accomplish and achieve. And it helps us with fighting that chaos that we're all prone to as human beings. I like to fill out this sheet with each of my kids every week or so. So across the top, imagining these 13 cells, here's how I made it. I opened a document. I said, insert table, and I made the table be 13 by, I don't know, how many ever squares fit. And I made it in landscape mode. So across the top, I have the date, then social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, exercise, food, financial, and I'll tell you the other 5 in a minute. I want to check in with my kids on their goals and their achievements in each of these areas: social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, exercise, and food. I broke up the physical, and financial. Why? Well, hey, they're going to be grown-ups one day. They need these skills. B, hey, guess what? If we don't take care of our emotional or social or spiritual or intellectual physical needs, we don't feel very happy. That chaos spiral starts to go down, down, down. So I want to teach my kids, hey, you really do have to pay attention to these things. And we just set tiny little goals. So for example, I talked to my son Silas this week, and I asked, what do you want to do for a social goal? You know, friends. He said, ooh, I want to invite this friend over to play, to hang out. And then emotional, we talked about how he's regulating his mood, and we both agreed he's doing really, really well. This was a child who at one time had a temper problem, but we've talked about it. And luckily, by having this form, I am forced to remember, hey, I'm going to talk to him about this thing and make sure he's progressing. Spiritual, he said, I'll pray. I said, great. Intellectual, he didn't have anything. He's like, I'm reading a book about drawing cartoon characters. And I said, what's a skill you could learn that would help you down the line? So finally we narrowed it down to maybe he'll take an online Photoshop class in the summer. And then for exercise, he is in track. And then in the summer, he wanted to try Taekwondo or karate. And then we talked about food. And of course, he thought it was fine. I said, hey, let's increase the veggie intake. And he wrote it down. Financial, how are you going to make money this summer, Silas? And he said, I'm going to babysit for Cora. And I said, sweet, it's a deal. Okay, so those are the first, 8 categories across the top. The date, social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, exercise, food, and financial. Then I have 5 more that I added later when I realized these are things I need to check on. So the next square is grooming. I have 3 boys first. And frankly, the girls aren't much better. Grooming. So have you been wearing your deodorant? Do you have an extra stick of deodorant in your backpack? Let me look at your teeth. They could use some whitening toothpaste or whatever it is. Let me look in your ears. You could do better at this in the shower. Oh, wow, your hair is so clean. Well done. I'm really glad you're taking care of things. And so I asked them those questions: deodorant, teeth, ears, and hair, whatever else I need to notice. The next one was kind of transportation. We have varying needs of transportation, from the 17-year-old down to the 4-year-old. She's not going anywhere, but Silas can ride his bike this summer. So I asked, how's your bike? Do you have a helmet? Do you have a lock? How's your transportation? I want to teach independence. And so for the oldest, when I go through this with him, we'll talk about where he is and getting his license, which he doesn't quite have yet. What are we going to do for his car and his insurance? And we'll just continue to have that conversation until he's more and more independent. But in the meantime, he is biking as well. Then the next one is communication. And I asked them about their cell phone use or their iPod use for some of them. For my kids, I am now cracking down on the phone, and I'm going in and viewing their Snapchat. I have not successfully done this with the older kids, but for the younger ones, I told the 13-year-old on down that every week I will be in your phone and I will make sure that you have appropriate friends in Snapchat. This is learned through hard experience lately with my two older ones. Also asking them, is their use of their cell phones or screens balanced and appropriate? And then the next square is chores, grades, and clothes. I just stuck a bunch of things together. Do they need any new clothes? Do their shoes fit? Because with 6 kids, sometimes we'll be at church or somewhere random and they'll say, my feet are killing me. And then I'll feel and like their foot is crammed into a shoe. And I hadn't thought to notice that they needed it. Grades. Silas and I looked at his grades and talked about where he could improve. And this is through our online grade program called Power School. And then chores. And then the final square is, what can we do to make your life more happy and fun at home? Because I want our home to be happy and fun. Studies show that, all the good things seem to start in the home. So he said less fighting. And of course, that's always the goal in most families. So we're working on it. And I love this. And then in another week, I can check in and we can continue to make progress. So that is the idea. Beating the chaos of life by making progress, by accomplishing and achieving, which result in a dopamine release that feels good, that makes us happier, that makes us feel a little more in control of our life, even though control is an illusion, generally speaking. Having some growth feels good. And I want to teach my kids to do that in a very gentle way. Just going through these mostly for my own information, but to help them think and notice improvements and growth. It makes everyone so much happier in the long run. So that is my tip for you today. If you'd like to grab your own copy of this goal sheet that I created for my kids, it's nothing fancy at all, but you can have it. It's at jenriday.com/kids goals, all one word. We're giving it to you in a Google Doc format, so you can change it for however you want it to be. Now, when you get that Google Doc, you'll want to click File, Make a Copy. Listen closely. File, Make a Copy, because the copy I'm going to give you, you cannot edit. But if you do File, Make a Copy, and then save it to your own computer or your own Google Drive, you can then make a copy. And if you struggle to save it, well, just take a look at it, get the ideas, and create your own. All right, again, that's at jenriday.com/kids goals. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helps. I feel like it's helping me. Instead of feeling like we're descending into chaos, we're pushing back a little bit and making progress, which feels so much better. I will see you next time. And until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Vibrant Happy Women podcast at www.jenriday.com.